My friends, today I want to work on exercise 94 in my 200 3D CAD problem series. Exercise 94 is a big wheel and it's pretty simple one, except that it is missing a few dimensions here and there. So we will probably have to do a couple of guessing on our way, but mostly it will be like we will have our major dimensions matching up with this one. So I decided I'll be doing this one repeating unit and then repeat it so many times so that it would become a wheel, and I want to do that in part workbench. I can do that in part design as well, but part seems okay to me on this one, so I want to do it on XY plane. Let's go ahead and bring in the axis cross, and I want to relocate the image to the center of this big hole. Let's take the axis cross away by pressing AC on the keyboard. I want to do this basic part, and let's go ahead and signify our boundary, and I want to say this is going to be an arc there. Okay, so these 2 points will coincide with each other. I want to take this constraint off. Now the angle between these two is given as 45, but let's go ahead and see what would be this angle. And we have 1 2 3 4 8 total portions, so 8 parcels. I want to say 360 divided by 8 makes 45, so these two lines are at 45 degree as well, which tells me this inside area will not meet at the center. It will be kind of like off-centered from here, just like that. And I'm gonna say it will meet right there. On this one, I also want to take out this orthogonal and then make these coincident to each other. So these two would be parallel, and so will be these two. See, we have that kind of sorted out. Now what I want to do is I want to see where these go. Okay, somehow, where is this from? Somehow it's got loose there. Okay, so let's see, this will be 120 diameter, which is 60 millimeter radius, and this will be 50 millimeter radius, right? And then what I want to do is for some reason we'll have to pin it down to somewhere. So one thing we are missing is how far this point is below this axis. So we can take care of that with an assumption. So we say it's 15 degree below. So that way it's fixed now. And now we'll have to work on this one. So if we make this 50 radius, this is coming down there, which means these two lines will have to be redrawn, and these will coincide with here. That way this 50 actually matches, and we will redo these two lines. So what I'm saying is these two lines are not radial. And let's close this shape with this arc, which is 20 millimeter radius, so that would be 20. All right, now we can make these two parallel and these two parallel. Okay, now we have 2 degrees of freedom, and that would be this distance and this distance. What we can do is we can make that distance equal, right? So let's draw this perpendicular construction geometry, and as I said, make those perpendicular to this line. And now I can make these two equal, right? So that way they are there. All right, somehow it's not matching up. It's probably because of this 15 degree. Let's see if we can make this 16. Yeah, that moves a little. Okay, so this is, I'm going to say, let's take an assumption again, 4 millimeter. All right, we got our things. Okay, we'll have to make this a cut, so we can do that now real quick. Actually, what I can do is I can make this curve, right? And this is radius 15, and to trim this off, yeah, I would rather, I don't want to trim it right now. I just want to make the construction and draw these two solid lines, so that way I am not losing any constraints. All right, so that's our repeating, I'm gonna say, sector, and I want to pull it up for, so this is 2 millimeter and this is 2 millimeter, and so that would be like a 4 millimeter extrusion. So I'm gonna go ahead and make it 4.05. I just gave that 0.5 millimeter, just a little bit of wiggle room, so I can make a, actually what I want to do is I want to make that extrusion symmetric to the plane. All right, now I want to do is I want to select this line and obviously this line and make it a chamfer. So now I can go ahead and make it 2 millimeter. That way they will be pretty close, but you know, if the extrusion was 4 millimeter, I could not do this 2 millimeter chamfer. It would have to be less than 2, so 1.99 maybe. So either way, there are some inaccuracies that, you know, actually not that of a big deal. So we got our repeating section. Now all we have to do is repeat it so many times so that will make a wheel, and we can use the polar array from my shortcut. So this is a shortcut that I built from the toolbar. If you are new to this series, there is a video where I show how to make this shortcut, or we can go to draft workbench and then find the polar array tool under this array tools. So there is polar array. So select that part and then hit polar array, right? And then, so it will be revolving with this point. So let's go ahead and then make it, say, I'm gonna say 8 repetition and reset points, and that time just bring it over here and then hit OK. So that way we have our wheel. And let's go back to part. Actually, from draft, this is one thing that bothers me so many, like this grid. Yeah, I don't need that. I mean, I don't know why it comes on. I'll have to find a way to turn it off every time it comes back on. Okay, one thing that we missed is these corners. That, so there are, so it should be corners. So let's go back to this sketch, and we can actually make this corner real quick. Now come here and then select this constraint preserving sketch fillet and then make a corner. Right, so now we have this corner which is 2mm radius, so these two will be radius 2mm, and we can do the same thing on here. Let's see if it's got, so it's the same 2mm radius as well. So we are taking constraint preserving sketch fillet and doing this sketching filleting, and let's make these two equal to this one. All right, we are missing a couple of constraints, so let's see. I want to say this point will be on this curve, and that puts us in a difficult position. How about I say this point and this point are the same? Does that make any difference? So let's take this and this, make this coincident. Okay, that's one thing, that's something. And also take this point and this point, so it's kind of like fixing down this construction geometry. All right, so now we have that round corner that we were looking for, and there you go, that's our wheel. So that line should not be there, and since we don't have any refine option here, let's see if we can take different route and see if that will make any difference. So let's go to lattice 2 workbench. So bring in the polar array, and here I want to do 8 repetitions, right? So number of count, it will be 8, right? And then, so here is our center. So the object is already off the center, so we don't have to have this radius here. I will just make it 0. And okay, before I make that 0 actually, so there is this kite already aligning with this repeating option, so we don't have to worry about that. All right, so take the extrude, take the polar array and make a copy, populate with copies. Okay, let's hide these two. So that's our object. Now I want to go to part and make a union. Okay, so this one, it has the refine option, so these lines will go away if we do the refining. I like this one better. So that's the tiny little difference between two workbenches. The polar array that we have in draft workbench does not provide the refine option, so there are some extra lines where in lattice 2 gives us that polishing feature. I hope you like these two ways of building this wheel, so we can make it functional in the draft workbench, but to look good, to make it look good, lattice 2 is preferred. Thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in the next time.